Um, I've talked about it before on the show. There was a reason why that I knew, and I talked about it in not in detail because I didn't want to do that, and I certainly didn't tell people who the source was. And how I was knowing what was going on with DC and what was about to happen with Superman. And now, recently, as my man's Gabe El Taib, who was the colorist for that project, for the Son of Kal-El project, he's no longer going to be with DC Comics. And that was the breaking point for him, was that this shit while he sits there, and unfortunately he's coloring work. This is his job, and he's coloring work for shit that is destroying characters that we grew up on. You know what I mean? So what I love about this is that, Gabe prayed on it, and then he's kind of started to come out public against what was going on, and he's let people know who it is that he is. He has a YouTube video in which he talks about why he left DC Comics, why he's no longer with them. And here's Bound Again the Comics covering some of this, where it says Son of Kal-El colorist Gabe El Taib to exit DC Comics over the motto change. And he says, I'm tired of them ruining these characters. So you know that not only in that, Superman has changed his little motto and whatnot. And he says that his contract is not going to be renewed with DC because of them, that they're ruining the characters. And this was when he was talking with EVS over there, and he said, I'm finishing out his contract. This is what he said. He said, I'm finishing out my contract with DC. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of them ruining these characters. They don't have a right to do that. He says, at Comic-Con in 2009, I was pushing Jerry Robinson's wheelchair around. The prominent DC colorist recalled, that's the man who invented the Joker. I would work the DC booth back then. I remember bending down to his face to tell him, thank you for creating these characters so people like me could walk in and get a job. It's not about gay or anything else. He said, what really pissed me off was saying truth, justice, and a better world. Fuck, it was truth, justice in the American way. So my grandpa died in World War II. So obviously this is something, and by the way, as a colorist, he's like fucking one of the best in the business. Like, you don't get put on Superman projects unless you're like incredibly good. He is incredibly good. But you go read this in Bound Again the Comics. What I wanted to say about this, I know a lot of folks emailed me about this, and I'm gonna go ahead and say he's kind of alluded to it himself. So I'll go ahead and echo the sentiment. A lot of emails said, man, you got to work with this guy, because this guy's doing something that's ballsy, because with him coming out and saying that, he knows that that bridge is burned. With him going back to DC Comics, it basically is an impossible thing. That's a lot of bread that is he's going to have to go without, unfortunately, because he doesn't have those projects incoming anymore. And he does have a family. He does have mouths to feed. So a lot of people reached out to me when they heard about this yesterday, and they were like, man, this is who he is. You should bring him for the Ripperverse and all this stuff. I will say this. Me and Gabe, we knew each other before y'all knew about this story. I'm not going to tell y'all, because I'm not ready to tell y'all to the extent of what I'm doing in the future that we'll be announcing in the next couple of months here. But trust me, Gabe's going to be all right. Trust me on that. I can at least tell you that much. We had already been chatting long before this stuff was going on. Me and him had already linked up with each other. Big shout out to EVS as well. So I already knew, right? Gabe is going to be okay. Trust me. He'll be okay. And what I do hope it does is that it inspires other people that work for these companies to say, fuck that company, if you have any integrity. Don't get me wrong. There are artists and whatnot that have no integrity. They don't give a shit. It's just another gig. And if they agree with the social political views, then yeah, it's even more so better for them. But for those of you that got integrity, there's a lot of folks making independent work. They'll catch you, is what I will say. But Gabe's going to be all right. Trust me on that. Just trust me. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. But I loved that I love what he did. He did it on his own terms. And he was like, look, I can't do this anymore. I can't even be a part of this. And I respect that of him. And I think he's going to, his shit's just getting started. I think there's a lot of good things that are going to come from him in the future and what he's going to be able to accomplish. Because I think at some point, as long as DC keeps continuing down the route that they're going, down the road that they're going, only thing they can do is nostalgia bait people. And that's what they're doing. They're nostalgia baiting people, and they are trying to utilize the fact that we grew up on this shit to sell sometimes books, but obviously everything else, which is what they care about more than anything else, whether it be movies and all of that stuff. But the comics themselves, those of us, because that's what it's about. We talked about this with Chuck Dixon. It's about the books. It ain't about the fucking movies. The movies and all that other shit, great if they depict it, but it's about comics first. And a lot of these guys are fucking tourists that are in this game that are in it to hijack, and that's it. They're talentless hacks, not necessarily maybe the artists, but the writers for sure are. Talentless fucking hacks. And the leadership, talentless fucking hacks. Who are complicit. Jim Lee's complicit. But they're hell-bent on using some nostalgia bait to just give you some semblance of hope before they let you down and then they, I don't know, turn fucking John Kent gay out of nowhere because of reasons. I hope more you guys look at what Gabe's doing and you say, you know what, fuck it. I don't care how you feel about fucking Comicsgate. It ain't about that shit. Because all that is just a movement of people recognizing something's fucking wrong. Right? It's something fucking wrong with how they do things over there. Okay? So all they got is nostalgia bait. And if we continue, and guys like myself take this project serious, and we see growth, we see support because of that, we packaged it in a way that was good. It was competitive. Maybe years from now, we look at them differently. It's going to be hard to dethrone a Marvel or DC. They've been around for so long. But that doesn't mean they can't be competed with. And that's a challenge that is worth taking. That's a challenge that I'm going to take. And again, I appreciate those that are in this game. Every now and then you get guys, some OGs, veterans that are in this game that are coming out saying no more. That's what it fucking is about. And I love to see that. So big shout out to Gabe. Obviously, the Comicsgate community has embraced him in his entirety. He'll be fine. We had already been talking about some stuff that he knows. I'm not going to tell you exactly to the extent of what it is what we're doing there, but just know Gabe and I have already talked. We talked before y'all even knew about this shit, about the Son of Kal-El stuff. I already knew about it. He already knew me. We had already chatted. He's gonna be fine. Trust me on that. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. As long as he continue to do work, he'll be fine. Trust me. But DC, dead company. That's what it stands for. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.